We do this once a year. We are celebrating our 50th wedding anniversary in September, and we have done this corn together for 50 years now. It's just a tradition in our family. His parents did this, his grandparents did this, so we're just carrying on the tradition. So first we want to shuck the corn. Our first step is to shuck the corn, which that's what we're doing here. We're taking the husk off the corn, getting all that off, and if there's a bad spot, you just cut it out. And then after we get the husk off, Jen and Caleb are going to lay them here in the basket, and we have Jason over here who is silking the corn. We have some little brushes like this that are nice and soft, and it doesn't hurt the kernels at all. When you do it, you don't break the kernels, and you try to get all the silks off of them before we cut the corn. And then over here we have Craig, who is cutting the corn.
There's several methods of removing the corn from the cob. I prefer just taking a serrated edge knife and cutting the corn off manually. You can buy the stores have corn cutters that you can use. Some people use electric knife, and they think that's the easiest way to do it. But for me, I've done this for 50 years, so just using the knife and cutting it off is the easiest for me. If you scrape the cob after you cut the corn off, you'll get the pulp, and that's more of a cream style corn. And the reason we've done this so many years is you actually get a more desirable corn to eat in the wintertime that tastes fresh, just like coming out of the field and buying it in the store. I prefer it myself. It's excellent.
And then when Craig gets me a pan full, we're going to bring it over here, and I'm going to blanch it. Not everybody blanches their corn. There's 2 or 3 different ways to can corn. This is the way we've always done it in our family, is we blanch it, we cut it off, then I blanch it, which means cooking it, and then we bag it. Some people like to cook it on the cob, and then they cut it off after they cook it. And some people don't even blanch their corn. They just cut it off and bag it up. And then you'll have fresh corn in your freezer all winter long. Craig, can I get some corn over here?
You sure can.
And then I'll show what I do. Usually we have a big pan full, but I want to show you the corn. And this is going to taste, in the next year, it's going to taste just as fresh as it does today by doing the process that we do. So I like to fill my pan. I have a pan here, and I'll fill my pan with this corn, and we'll give this back to Craig so he can cut me some more. Usually I would have a whole pan full, but we'll just do this for today. So I've got this in here, and I'm going to put it on my stove, and I'm going to put some water in it. I'm going to put maybe a cup of water in this. The reason I put some water in it is so it won't stick. So I might put just a little bit more. Usually I would have a whole pan full, but for today we'll just do it this way. And then I put a little salt in. Maybe I'll do a teaspoon of salt for this much. And then we turn the burner on. There we go. And when I do cook it on the stove, I want to be sure I stir it. So I'm constantly stirring the corn because I don't want it to stick. This corn has some starch in it. And this is called blanching when I do this. So I'm going to cook this until right now it looks a little lighter yellow, but when it's ready, it's a little darker yellow. Or it comes to a boil. I don't want to boil it, I just want to bring it to a boil. Then after that, after it cooks on here, I'll let this go for a little bit. Then I will take my corn and cool it. And so for this, I would take this pan like this, and I would set it in my sink once it was ready with ice water. So I put ice water, just a bunch of ice in your sink. That should work great. For us at home, we usually do this process in our greenhouse because we do a lot at one time. So we're silking in the back room. I have a kitchen in my greenhouse, and we work in there. So I get a baby pool, a hard baby pool, and I fill that full of ice water. And usually I have about 3 of these panfuls, and I set that in the ice water, and I just keep stirring it till it's cool. And it's very important to have this cooled off before you bag it. And my favorite bags are the Ziplock. So I buy Ziplock, freezer, quart bags. And in these quart bags, well, first of all, I usually mark them all like 2021. So I've got all my bags marked and ready to go. I like the Ziplock because they're a quality bag, they don't leak at the ends, and they seal tight at the top. So I've got that ready to go. So whenever this is ready, it's just not quite ready yet, it takes a little time. We will put this in some bags for you and show you. The corn is very nice, and while I'm waiting for that to boil, I guess I could tell you that our son Brad manages this location here at Papillion, and he has several acres of sweet corn where he lives. And he brings it here fresh for you to buy, and it's $5 a dozen if you want to buy it like that. But he's putting out a special offer that if you're wanting to freeze corn like we do, you can buy it at $3.50 a dozen if you take 10 dozen. And if you choose to do that, then be sure you call ahead and place your order. And you can, this is really kind of a fun family thing to do. As behind us, I've got my husband Craig, I've got grandson Caleb, the workers here from Papillion. So it just is a family experience. We have lots of memories of doing the corn. We spend a lot of time at Craig's parents doing the corn. Our grandkids and kids spend a lot of time at our house doing our corn. So it's just something we do once a year, so we have fresh corn in the freezer. I know sometimes they say only a year, but I've kept mine in the freezer 2 years and it stays nice. I brought some that I had already frozen, so it's starting to thaw out a little bit in here, but it looks still really nice. And I like to make it flat in the bag so you can stack it in your freezer. Let's see how this is doing here. Oh, yeah, he's starting to come to a boil here. So I'm gonna take him off the burner. I really don't want to cook it. I want it to stay nice and crisp. So I'm going to set it over here. And the next step is to cool it in your ice water. Now that our corn is cooled, it looks like this. And then you can see it's just a little darker yellow than when we started. I don't like to cook it too much, but we're ready to go, so I'm going to bag this. And I've got my Ziploc bags. I've got 2021 written on it. And I'm going to get 2 cups to put in here. I like to put 2 cups into my quart freezer Ziploc bags. And there's juice in the bottom of this, and sometimes I just drain it out a little bit so I don't get a lot of juice in here. Okay, and Caleb's going to get the air out of it and flatten it out. And that way, if you get them flattened out, like that, that works out good. We can even kind of jostle a little bit more so that it's even flatter, like that. And they're going to stack really good in your freezer. So let's get another couple cups here. The corn is so good all winter long. We'll just get 2 more cups in here. There we go. And Caleb's going to get the air out of it. Getting the air out of it is important. It's very important to cool it before you put it in the bag. And then when you can stack these, like here's some that just come out of my freezer that I had done last year. They're starting to thaw out a little bit. But you can also, if you don't have space to lay them down, if you have a place to stack them like this, you can also stack them like this in your freezer. Or you can just stack them one on top of each other, which works out really good. And when you go to take this out to, like I want to have this for supper tonight, I just let it thaw out in the refrigerator, or else I stick it in the microwave just for a little bit, just so I can break it up. And if you do stick it in the microwave, be sure you open the pouch. And I just thaw it out just a little bit, then I stick it in a bowl or a pan on the stove. A bowl, I'll stick it in the microwave, or a pan on the stove, and just warm it up on the stove. And you can put a little bit of butter, you can put a little bit more salt if you need more salt, whatever you like with this, but it's gonna taste just like it came out of the sweet corn patch. Thanks for watching. If you need some sweet corn to eat, be sure you come to Canoyers. It's $5 a dozen, or if you want to put some in your freezer like we're doing today, it's $3.50 for 10 dozen or more. Be sure you call in your orders when you order that much. Thanks for watching. See you soon.